It's Friday, February 28th. This is an end of the day, end of the week, and end of the month SPY recap. And it's pretty interesting that in the last hour and a half of trading today, a lot of things may have kind of settled down a little bit. The negativity possibly is now neutralized. We're right back in the middle of a big range that I'll show you in a minute. And it's possible that, like I said, some of the negative price action that I was really expecting to unfold going forward might have just changed literally within less than 2 hours of trading. In terms of today's chart, you could see the two down kind of failure, looking reversal bar, green bar after hitting the lows of the day. We could just be, an end of the day rally, and we'll, maybe gap lower into next week. You never know. So that's why we'll see what happens to open the week. Where this is the close of the week here, the purple line. So wherever this opens, that'll be a key reference point going forward for the rest of the week. But what's interesting is on the weekly chart that I was kind of talking about, coming down, taking out this pivot point early, midweek, pausing for a couple of days and starting a lot lower. You kind of were expecting to head down there, but all of a sudden, if you look at now the way this week ended, it looks like a nice buying tail right at the key pivot point. So that means, we might have come down, tested that area, and we could be holding in here. So if we hold the kind of the midpoint of this buying tail and the lows of this pivot right here, it could just be that's where we held, and we'll start the two up week and continue the uptrend. On the monthly chart to end the month, what did we have here? Just an inside neutral month. So this is now 4 months, essentially, once we started up here. 4 months now, we're just going sideways. That's really all that's happening in the market. But since we can't get any red two down developing, we'll see if that develops next month. This could just be a big 4-month pause and a big uptrend that needed to, rest for a while. That could be making a big leg up going forward. So let's keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, though, it's definitely still just sideways action and volatile, and that's why some of this day trading stuff is makes more sense than some of the swing trading. But it is possible that, well, we had a potential higher high and going all the way to lower lows here, maybe even getting a red month. It looks like that may be neutralized, so we're going to have to find out. So again, in terms of what today's price action, if when we really want to define what broadening action means on any time frame, you can see it here as clear as can be, where we made lower lows to start the day, higher highs, went back to lower lows, and then up to higher highs. So there's your classic broadening formation on this time frame. In terms of today's price action, you were kind of biased to the downside of the big picture, but the market started up. I discussed how I bought some calls here. Then there were a couple of put trades I made that worked out well, and I exited, at this key inflection point on the intraday chart. I exited a put trade here, and as it turns out, that was the low of the day. And then again, I'm not surprised that given the broadening action and given the failure to move below the intraday low, that once it started up again, it certainly built momentum to take out this high. And then once that didn't want to reverse, we then have a strong close. Like I said, today I was buying puts a couple of times. I bought the 595 puts here at 1013, scaled at 11, exited that trade at 1017, so a little gain there. Then I re-entered at 1051, sold out at 1150, 1325, and 14. So that was a really nice secondary put trade. So the bias was all down, down, down. But I like to exit I scale out before targets and then I exit at targets. And in this case, this is even if this could have continued a lot lower, I could have had maybe bigger gains. In this case, that type of methodology gave me the maximum gain as it turned out. But anyway, the interesting thing here is this big rally. That's pretty substantial. That really changes the weekly chart. We're right in the middle of this megaphone now, so we're very neutral as opposed to really thinking this is a big red bar that likely will now continue lower. It still might, but we're going to have to see where the open is. Like I said, I'm going to judge the purple line next week where things open and keep that reference point in mind. And I'm going to see on this daily chart here if we hold above the midpoint of this day and start up and then have a two up day that targets, any two up day here will target kind of these two pivots. And if we get up there, that's a pinball effect to maybe get up and turn the, get a two up week going up here. And if we get a two up week, then we might be working a new high. So a lot of things changed here at the end of the day. Wanted to point that out. It's the end of the month as well, and we will see what unfolds next week. But my bias is certainly a lot more neutral and even possibly skewed towards a reversal that might be unfolding back to the upside. But I'm going to watch price action as always. And like I said, in this choppy environment here that's been going on for 4 months, this is why, the various high and low pivot points and the volatility is it presents good, very short-term trading opportunities that really have a difficult time sustaining and following through, especially when on the monthly chart you're sitting there sideways over 4 months. That's why any type of big up moves are kind of heading lower once they hit targets, and the same thing when you hit the downside here, it's possible that you reverse. And I was all set to proclaim we were breaking through that pivot and heading to those lows, but now as I look at the weekly chart, that all changed within about an hour and a half. This more and more looks like we took this pivot out at this key inflection point in this time frame. It looks like it wants to almost hold this area and now start back up, unless we really can come down below the midpoint of this buying tail. So we'll see what happens going into the month of March. And at the moment, just kind of choppy and neutral, but a lot less ominous than it looked, at the beginning of the day.